Hunting comes down to shot placement, no doubt about it. But if your ammo isn't up to the task, you could end up with a wounded deer instead of a clean kill. Some bullets break apart too soon, some don't go deep enough, and others run out of steam before they reach their target. In this video, we'll talk about the best hunting ammo across the most popular rifle calibers. Ammo that hits hard, expands reliably, and gives you the best chance at a quick, ethical kill. Regardless what game species you're after, it could be whitetail, elk, moose, or bear, stick around. We'll break down which rounds perform the best and why they belong in your rifle this season. Let's dive in. You've got a century of history backing you up when you head into the woods with a .30-06 Springfield. There are so many factory loads out there, everything from the tried-and-true Winchester PowerPoint to Hornady's American Whitetail, that it can be tough to know where to start. If you want the round that does it all and does it better than most, give the Barnes 5 OR-TIA X 150 Grain TTS-X a try. This particular load is all copper, so it's legal in places with lead restrictions, and it retains its weight better than almost anything else on the market. It's not the cheapest option, but it sure does the job right. You'll appreciate how well it stays intact and punches deep. People sometimes compare it to Remington's Swift Sirocco Bonded or Federal Fusion soft points, but the TTS-X takes weight retention to another level. It keeps close to its full weight after contact, which means it delivers impressive penetration through the shoulders or ribs of a big buck. Wind drift is minimal, and it's moving fast at about 2,970 feet per second. That flat trajectory helps when you're lining up a shot past 300 yards. This bullet also expands with incredible consistency. You'll hear stories about the TTS-X making even a slightly off-center shot lethal because it mushrooms reliably and drives on through. Plenty of other bullets hit hard, but some of them either fragment too soon or don't expand enough, especially at longer distances. The TTS-X takes that worry off your mind. It's not easy on the wallet, though. If you're a once-a-year hunter who just needs a decent round, Winchester PowerPoints might be enough. But if you put a premium on quick, humane kills, the Barnes VOR-TX 150 grain TTS-X is worth every penny. It's the sort of ammo you'll feel confident about when you head into the field, and your tracking job is likely to be short. Folks love the .308 Winchester for deer, and I'll bet you do too. It's reliable, delivers plenty of energy, and there's no shortage of factory loads. If you're trying to keep it simple with a whitetail hunt, or a mule deer hunt for that matter, give Winchester Deer Season XP 150 grain Extreme Point a good look. This load is made specifically with deer in mind, so it's not just a reworked design from something else. You'll notice how quickly the bullet expands on impact. The polymer tip is big for a reason. It's engineered to dump energy into a deer's vitals without fuss. Some folks like Hornady's SST or Federal's Terminal Ascent, and they're both solid rounds. But the Deer Season XP often creates a bigger wound channel, and that can be a real plus if your shot placement ends up a bit off. It's also quite accurate inside the typical 100 to 300 yard window, and it doesn't leave a crater in your wallet like some premium ammo does. You might run into heavier .308 loads that keep more momentum at 400 to 500 yards, but if you're mostly hunting in wooded areas or mid-range fields, you're probably not taking super long shots anyway. And if you do push it a bit farther, the 150 grain Extreme Point still flies plenty flat. It's also known to feed reliably, so you're not gambling on your ammo in the middle of a hunt. You can practice more without going broke, and that alone can boost your confidence in the field. If you're the type who wants a dependable deer-specific round at a fair price, the Deer Season XP is tough to beat. You probably already know the .270 Winchester has been knocking down deer, elk, and antelope for decades. It's a flat shooter with mild recoil, and ammo companies have done a great job tailoring loads for everything from pronghorn in open country to elk in the timber. Hornady's Superformance 140 grain SST is one of those loads that seems to nail every category you care about. It leaves the muzzle fast, over 3,000 feet per second, so it stays flatter over longer distances. Speed isn't everything, but it sure helps reduce how much you have to hold over a deer at 300 yards. The SST bullet is known for quick expansion, and there's an interlock ring inside that holds the core and jacket together. That gives you some peace of mind that the bullet won't fly apart when you hit bone. Some folks like Winchester Deer Season XP in 130 grains because it's also a polymer tip design, but it's lighter and might not penetrate as deeply if you're going after something bigger than whitetail. Federal's Vital Shock with a 150 grain nuzzler partition is great for elk, but it can be overkill on smaller deer. The Hornady 140 grain SST sits right in the sweet spot, so you can use it for deer, then step up to elk with good shot placement. It's not the cheapest stuff on the shelf, but that extra velocity and consistent expansion can help you avoid a long tracking job. You'll likely find that it gives you the best blend of speed, accuracy, and knockdown power across a wide range of situations. You've got a real powerhouse with the 7mm Remington Magnum, and it'll take down everything from pronghorn to elk if you choose the right ammo. Some folks swear by Federal's trophy bonded tip, while others go with Winchester's AccuBond LR. They're both excellent choices, but Hornady's Superformance 162 grain SST is especially popular for an all-around load. You get a flat-shooting, high-velocity round that hits with serious authority. It's not just about speed, though this load definitely cooks along at over 3,000 frames per second. The SST bullet has a polymer tip to help reduce drag, and it uses Hornady's interlock design so it holds together on impact. You'll see a devastating wound channel, which is what you want when you're aiming for a quick kill on deer or elk. The Federal trophy bonded tip might keep even more weight at impact, but the SST typically expands more aggressively on medium-sized game, making it a strong choice if your main target is deer. You can still use it on elk, of course, just place your shot well. It's consistent in the field too. Sometimes you'll see cheaper rounds that vary in velocity from shot to shot, and that can mess with your accuracy at longer ranges. Hornady's quality control helps keep things predictable. It's not the cheapest round on the shelf, but the reliability is worth it if you want to fill your tag without drama. It's a good compromise between the heavier long-range bullets and the lighter, faster ones that might not penetrate as much on big game. You've probably heard about the 300 Winchester Magnum's reputation as a real workhorse. It's powerful, shoots flat, and can handle anything from deer to moose. If you're after top performance for elk, moose, or big bears, it's tough to ignore Nuzzler's trophy-grade line loaded with the 180 grain AccuBond. It's a bonded bullet that's designed for controlled expansion and deep penetration, which is what you need for larger animals with heavier bone and muscle. This round has a muzzle velocity of about 2,950 feet per second, so it carries plenty of energy downrange without the punishing recoil you might feel from heavier 200 grain loads. You'll see other great options like Hornady's 200 grain ELDX or Federal Premium Terminal Ascent, but they can sometimes lose speed a bit faster, and they may fragment more on close shots. The AccuBond is built to hold on to its weight, so you get a good balance of expansion and pass-through. That can mean a quicker knockdown and a solid blood trail. Nuzzler takes its time with the trophy-grade ammo, using top-quality brass and consistent powder charges. That's why these rounds are known for reliable feeding and tight groupings. They don't come cheap, but big game hunts aren't cheap either, so it makes sense to spend a bit more to give yourself every advantage. The 180 grain AccuBond is a great middle-of-the-road bullet weight that's heavy enough for moose, but still fine for smaller game like deer if you really want one do-it-all load. And if you're heading into country where a trophy bull or bear might be at the end of your crosshairs, it's comforting to know your ammo can handle it. The 6.5 Creedmoor has turned into a real favorite for hunters who like mild recoil, solid accuracy, and enough energy to take down bigger animals than you might expect. It's a versatile cartridge that's seen a ton of innovation. You've got Hornady's Precision Hunter in 143 grains, Barnes VOR-TX in 127 grains, and plenty of others. If you're planning on chasing elk, caribou, or big black bears with your 6.5, the Federal Premium 140 grain Nuzzler AccuBond is a well-rounded choice that hits hard. Nuzzler's AccuBond bullet is famous for staying in one piece, even when it meets a heavy shoulder. It's bonded, so you rarely see the core and jacket separate. You'll often hear that the ELDX from Hornady is fantastic for longer shots, but in some cases it can lose a lot of its mass on a close hit. The AccuBond tends to hold up better, which is a big deal if you connect with a big bull elk or moose. You also get a muzzle velocity of around 2,675 feet per second, and that might not be scorching, but it's more than enough for ethical shots out to several hundred yards. The 140 grain bullet weight helps deliver deeper penetration compared to some of the lighter 6.5 rounds. It's not a bargain bin load, but that's how it goes with premium hunting ammo. You're investing in consistent performance that could be the difference between a clean harvest and a frustrating day of tracking. If you're serious about hunting larger game with your 6.5 Creedmoor and you want a bullet that'll hold together, Federal's 140 grain Nosler AccuBond is a safe bet. The 7mm PRC has really impressed folks who want a cartridge built for long-range performance on big game. There are a few loads you can choose, like Barnes VOR-TX with the 160 grain LRX or Hornadi's Match 180 grain ELDM if you're punching paper. For a hunt though, Federal Premium's 175 grain ELDX load is an absolute hammer. It's a great balance of speed, energy retention, and controlled expansion. Federal uses Hornadi's ELDX bullet, which is known for a high ballistic coefficient. You're pushing it out of the muzzle at around 3,000 feet per second, and it carries a lot of energy downrange. That's a big help if you're lining up a shot on an elk, moose, or other large animal a few hundred yards away. This bullet is also designed to expand reliably, so you'll see a deep wound channel that helps seal the deal quickly. The Barnes 160 grain LRX is good if you need a lead-free option and it penetrates well, but the 175 grain ELDX often transfers more energy on impact. Hornadi's 180 grain ELDM is incredibly accurate on paper, but it doesn't expand the same way because it's not intended for hunting. If you want a round that can handle big game across a broad range of distances, the Federal 175 grain ELDX is a solid pick. You'll pay more for this premium load, but that's the reality with modern long-range hunting ammo. If your priority is a clean kill and reliable ballistic performance, it's worth every dime. This is the stuff you want in your rifle when you're glassing across a valley, waiting for that trophy bull to step into your crosshairs. And that's it for this video. Every round we just covered is proven in the field, so now it's up to you. Which of these rifle cartridges or ammo brands is your go-to? Got a favorite that didn't make the list? Sound off in the comments. And while you're down there, please hit like, share this with your hunting buddies, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more hunting insights. Thanks for watching.